Hey guys, Kev here, and it's time for another blade battle. Battle of two slip joints, what I'm calling the jack-off. You know I had to do it. So I got two slip joints here. I have the C. Reisner Cutlery, a.k.a. TPK, a.k.a. TraditionalPocketKnives.com. Ohio River Jack. Coming in from the great state of Ohio. An exclusive design of Austin over at C. Reisner Cutlery, TraditionalPocketKnives.com. Then we have the Jack Wolf Knives Midnight Jack, coming in from the mind of Ben Belkin over at Jack Wolf Knives out of Arizona. And yeah, that's what we got here, guys. This is the battle of the jack-offs, a.k.a. the jack-off, right? Whatever. You know what I'm saying. I'm messing around here, all right? Let me mess around, bro. Let me mess around. Let me read the rules to you. There's rules to the jack-off, all right? So, of course, we have the Ohio River Jack and the Midnight Jack. I thought these were the most comparable. Now, if I had the Spear Point ORJ, I'd probably be holding the Canine Jack over here, you know? If I had the Warney ORJ, I'd probably be rocking the laid-back Jack over here. But I got the Sheepsfoot, so I went Sheepsfoot on Sheepsfoot crime. We got the Midnight Jack. Now, does that give the Jack Wolf an advantage? Well, I mean, I had to pick one, and this is the one that matched, but this is the best Jack Wolf knife on the planet. And I don't mean this design. I mean this fucking knife right here is the best Jack Wolf knife on the planet. It lives at my house. Sorry, I'm just kidding. I love this freaking knife, though. That is an advantage, but I do really like this knife as well. So, anyway, enough messing around here, guys. Categories, materials, price, perceived value, aesthetics, ergos, cutting, carry, sounds, and then action, fidget factor. Those two kind of combine for walking and talking. Then you got fit and finish and leftability, which is pretty dumb because they're slip joints. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 categories. And again, like I said, slip joints. So they're each going to get a point for leftability because they slip joints. I don't know if I need to explain that to anybody, but no clip, nothing. Only thing you could argue here is on the ORJ here, you do have a clean pivot side on this side right here, which would be your show side. And then you have the tooling over here on the lefty side. So technically you could throw that. But this kind of did the same thing, right? They put the branding over here, Jack Wolf on the show side, and then on this side they put the steel marking. So, I mean, we can do semantics, but let's call it a tie on leftability. So, we could end up with a tie here, guys, but let's see what happens, okay? All right. Let the jack-off begin. Sorry. I usually like to do like some kind of intro talking about each knife, and I briefly covered that. But for the sake of the battle not being an hour long, I'm going to just do it, and I'll probably cover everything I would say in that intro. Like, I'd like to talk about the knife, where it's made, some of the materials and stuff. Why do that when I'm literally going to cover most of that here? So, if you have something you want to point out in the comments, like, they're made in China, I know they're made in China. I gave where the companies are from, okay? Ohio, Arizona. I didn't say they were made there. I just said that's where the that's where the designers, the brands are from. The dealer is from, okay? By the way, this dealer, C. Reisner Cutlery Traditional Pocket Knives, actually carries Jack Wolf knives. So, competition, yes. Friendly competition, hell yes. Okay? So don't go spouting off in the comments. These two guys are buddies, all right? They're jacking off together. They're crossing swords. God, I need to shut up. Materials. Let's do the damn thing. So this is relatively easy for me. You have titanium and you have M Tray 90. Titanium, M Tray 90, fat carbon. Yes, please. I'll take a side of fat carbon any day of the week. Materials goes to the Midnight Jack. Oh, by the way, since we're talking about jacks, hey, Jackman, check it. Swap the band out just for you. That one was beat to shit, so it definitely needed to be swapped out. Thank you for calling it out in the comments, calling it the way you see it, brother. I love it. Thank you. All right, price. You have 100 and I think 65 bizones on the ORJ here in the single blade with the Jigg-Ed or Jig titanium. I believe they start around 135 maybe, and they go up from there. I don't think any of them are over 200. The Midnight Jack in this configuration is $299. And in the base version with my Carta, it is $275. So your price is going to go to the ORJ. And yes, I always want to say OHJ, Ohio River Jack, but it's yeah. Perceived value. So this is a tough one for me, guys. The Jack Wolf knives obviously have a higher value. But perceived value to me is kind of like how do they do on the secondary, that kind of thing. These don't tend to like hold crazy value on the secondary. I see people trying to sell Jack Wolves on secondary for a decent loss. Now, it's usually a micarta version, so it kind of balances. The fat carbon ones are always in demand. People always want those, and they're going to pay full price. Now, you're probably not going to see somebody pay like $350 for this, but they'll pay, you know, the $299 that the retail cost was. The ORJ just came out. I mean, they just dropped these Jig titanium ones. So it's really hard to say the perceived value. Now, I know Austin ordered a shit ton of these so that he would have them in stock for a while. His plan was to have a knife that sticks around. He didn't want to just have a certain number and have them sell out. Now, he has the funds to do that. Selling out obviously is beneficial for marketing purposes. It always sounds good, sounds cool and stuff. But having knives in stock to sell is also really cool and beneficial, especially when you're a dealer. So it makes sense for him to do that. So I don't think there's any fear that these are just going to be out of stock. So I could be wrong, by the way, but we'll see. And he has more coming in different materials. So I would think that these are just going to... you know, they're not going to go for retail price on the secondary because you can just go buy one at retail. So you're gonna lose some dollars there. So I think perceived value, I'm gonna put the Jack Wolf ahead just because there are versions of the Jack Wolf knives, specifically this Midnight Jack in this fat carbon, that are very sought after, and you could get at least retail, maybe even slightly more. So that's my reasoning, going with the Midnight Jack on perceived value. Aesthetics. So I love both of these. I'm a Sheepsfoot whore. We all know this. Now, the Jack Wolf knives Midnight Jack, as I grab a Jack Wolf towel here, the Midnight Jack is probably my favorite slip joint pattern of all time. It's definitely my favorite slip joint aesthetically of all time that I have seen. Just the way this hollow grind comes out, this sheep's foot, this beautiful just swedge that rounds down. I mean, Ben literally distilled my traditional wants into this knife. Like, there's no ifs, ands, or buts. It's like he was in my head, pulled it out of there, and dropped the Midnight out. If you see my slip joint design with Devo that Colin and I have in the works, it is sort of similar. I mean, it's got the sheepsfooty blade. We have a choil, and the handle's a little different, but it's got some of that similarity, and this is exactly what I want in a slip joint. Now, the Ohio River Jack here in Sheepsfoot is also absolutely stunning. I love it. The technicality here that I'm going to fall on to give the win to the Midnight Jack are a couple things. The beautiful belt satin and hollow grind, the swedge up there, right? The single-sided long pull, whatever you call it, match strike, whatever that nail nick is called, gives it a little character. The longer bolster with the triple flute, the purple Haze fat carbon, the coffin handle design. Now, they both sort of have that. This is a little more pronounced. There's just something about all those things combined in this that really does it for me. And then, to top it off, the thing that sets it apart for me from the ORJ is the tallness, if that makes sense. The fact that the Midnight Jack is shorter this way, it just looks cleaner to me. It just looks more appealing to my eye. Some people will probably say the opposite and say they like this one because it has a little bit of girth to it in this sense, not this sense. So, personal preference, I like that better. I was saying in my review of this, one that they cut like a quarter off of, if they redid this and cut a quarter off, even kept the same blade, would be like, chef's kiss for me. So I got to give it to the Midnight Jack on aesthetics. Ergos. So this is where having a little bit of meat is not a bad thing, right? You can get a very comfortable grip on the Ohio River Jack. On the Midnight Jack, it's not too thin, in my opinion. It is not too thin. It does have a good enough amount of handle back here for me to comfortably hang on to it. I really enjoy the ergonomics on both of these. Honestly, trying to find something that would set one apart from the other, and it's a bit of a struggle. Like I'm squeezing down, I'm trying different pinch grips. Yeah, man, that's a struggle. Not gonna lie, I don't know if one of these is better than the other. I think, okay, I have to choose. I'm gonna give it to the ORJ simply because the corners, the edges are knocked down a little more. QSP, by the way, if I didn't mention, QSP is the OEM on the Ohio River Jacks in China, and this one's an unknown OEM over in China. I could take some guesses, but I know some OEMs that it isn't, at least, but it doesn't really matter. I'm not going to sit here and speculate. But QSP does such a good job knocking corners down. If you look at my own knife, the Devo Stout, you'll see they really do a good job rounding like literally everything. It's something QSP seems to take pride in. And it also comes down to the design if you want that. But this has that. And I think if you're really bearing down, that's one thing you can feel a little bit is, you know, like the edges right here or whatnot. I'm really, really, really stretching here to get somebody to win this category. So, Ohio River Jack. Cutting. So, this one's going to go hands down to the Midnight Jack. And that's not to say the Ohio River Jack is not a good cutter. It has a flat grind. Comes down to a decently thin edge, and it slices really good for me. I've enjoyed it. It's got a nice sharp factory edge on it. But with that said, the Midnight Jack is one of the probably best out-of-the-box cutters I've ever experienced. It's just because he does these full hollow grinds, and they come down to just stupid thinnesses behind the edge. I mean, you're talking under 10 thousandths to about 12 thousandths of an inch behind the edge on the Midnight Jack or on any of the Jack Wolf knives. So you just get this stupid cutting performance. Now, yes, if you want something where you want to be able to do a little harder use, maybe this would be the one for you. But for me, the cutting goes to the Midnight Jack, and it's not because the ORJ is any type of slouch. It's just because the Midnight Jack is an absolute beast. Carry. Again, this is going to go to the Midnight Jack. Again, it's going to be basically based off of the sheer just size of the knife. If we stack them up, you can see there's just a bit more of ORJ. And that solely means this is, to me, going to carry better. This is lighter weight. This has an actual good amount of weight difference. The Midnight Jack is maybe 2.5 ounces, something like that. This is probably more like 3.5. It's got a little bit of weight to it. Secondly, I do have this Northwoods Leatherworks slip for my Midnight Jack, and the way Troy does his slip, super slim, just carries like an absolute dream. The ORJ does not come with a slip, where the Jack Wolf knives do come with a slip. So out of the box, you get a slip. That's right there a plus. And then I actually have a really sick slip right now for the Midnight Jack. I am having one made. Troy is making me one for the ORJ. I think that'll be a good market for him. So I thought it'd be cool to get one, and then I can show it off and stuff. I'm excited to get a slip for it. It's basically going to mimic the Midnight Jack slip, except we just are adding that little bit of extra handle to it because it's wider. I've tried to fit it in here. It's just a bit too wide. So if I take this out and put this in, I have to, I'm already getting stuck here. And it's just because the handle is that much wider, right? So for those reasons, plus just the weight and thinness of the knife overall, no matter what slip, if they were identical, the Midnight Jack is going to win, in my opinion, on carry. But this is a good carry. I carried it in a back pocket, just kind of like this, in my back pocket. I tried the OCD for EDC Jack Wolf slip. It doesn't really fit in there. I had to really squeeze it in, and then I needed like 2 hands to push it out. It just wasn't worth it. So once I have some slips for this, I will do another video on it to show you guys, because I am excited for that. But the carry is going to go to the Midnight Jack. Sound. So this is where we're going to get into walk and talk. So let's just start. We'll skip ahead. Let me grab a drink here. We'll start with walk, and then we'll go to talk. All right. For me, the ORJ is one of the best slip joints I've handled in terms of walk and talk. They absolutely crushed it at QSP. Austin absolutely crushed it with his design. From what I've learned in working on my own slip joint design, and we definitely got some pointers from Ben over at Jack Wolf Knives. He had a lot of knowledge about how slip joints should be set up in terms of the tang corners and how they're supposed to interact, and that really, really helps you get crisp walk and talk. And I don't know how to put this other than it almost feels like Ben has like a signature walk and talk. Like there's just something about the crispness of the Jack Wolf knives that I feel in this. So it almost feels like his DNA is in this a little bit. I don't know if that's true or not. I know that they know each other and are friends, so it's possible. But regardless, QSP absolutely knocked this out of the park. Just listen. So the walk is absolutely wonderful on this knife. I couldn't be more happy with how the walk is on this knife. Now the Midnight Jack, it basically is, like I said, this particular one is the best slip joint on the planet. I just happen to own the best slip joint on the planet. The walk and talk is just stupid good. I don't really know another way to put it. Just watch that spring take over. I mean, it's literally silly. Sorry, I was trying to demonstrate. I mean, yeah, it's a stronger pull, but the full hollow grind with that belt satin, you got all this blade here. Feels like nothing. In a good way. And it's so crisp on the closing. It's just beyond insanity when it comes to walk and talk. And this is like right there. I mean, it's insane. This is like a 15 out of 10 a walk and talk, in my opinion. And this is probably like a 12. I mean, I got some really good ones here, guys. Just some really good ones. But the Midnight Jack is just kind of like, it's just on another planet. It would be much closer if it was a different Jack Wolf that I had on the table right now. I do have some that are closer to this action. Again, top tier. But this one is like, this is like the Michael Jordan of walk and talk over here. So Midnight Jack takes that. Both categories, sorry. Fit and finish. So again, this is a really tough battle. In terms of it's gonna end up with a sort of what looks like a pummeling. The Midnight Jack just beating down on the ORJ, but that's not really what it is. It's just that the Midnight Jack is that good, and it's showing. It's showing why it's $100 more, $150 more, right? The fit and finish on this QSP made ORJ is absolutely spectacular. I really don't know where they could have done better. Now, yes, I think I would prefer a belt satin, right? I would prefer a hollow grind, but those things cost more money, and it makes it to where you need to make the knife more expensive, and Austin was looking at a price point. So do I fault him in any way? No. This is absolutely wonderful. The choices made here are spectacular for the price point. One thing I want to note is this knife has a stop pin, and that knife does not. It works off a traditional kick system. That's a little bit of a touch. I don't know where that would fall in. Fit and finish, maybe it could go in this category. The Midnight's going to win anyway, but I just want to, again, point out, if this is a 10 out of 10, this is like an 8 or a 9. It's not that this is not good. It's just that this is on another level. So, again, if you look at that Jigg-Ed titanium, it's absolutely stunning. The bead blast is wonderful. The hardware is done extremely well. Centering is dead on. The spring is flush in all three positions. Wonderful. Love the nail nick. The chamfering on the nail nick is fantastic. It's a machine satin, which is not my favorite, especially QSPs. But I totally get it, and it's done well. There's just not much here that you could complain about. Yeah, sure, this is a little bit sharp, but it has to be because it's part of the action or the walk and talk. I think it's 0.45 thick. That's perfect in my opinion. All these corners are not. It's wonderful, guys. It really is. It has a modern touch to it with the D-shaped pivot. And that stop pin in there, and the M390. but it's done extremely well for a traditional style knife. Now, the Midnight Jack, it's just, you know, that what I was saying, it's just like on another planet. The transitioning of the fat carbon, the finishing of the fat carbon, the triple fluted bolster. I love whatever it is that Ben is having this OEM do to the titanium. I want to see more of this sort of darkened bead blast as opposed to a normal one. And I love this. I just think this is unique as hell. You have that beautiful belt satin. I mean, nobody does a belt satin better than Riot, and this is better. It's not Riot. So, you know, the hollow grind is stupid. The swedging, the nail nick, the hardware is done extremely well on these. You have that kick system as opposed to a stop pin. Beautiful walk and talk. Flush in all three. Man, the only thing you could possibly complain about is, you know, some of the corners are sharp, but I think that's a design aspect. Ben does that on purpose to keep that visual look of those sharp angles, if you know what I mean. And it really never bugs you in use or anything. Absolutely just the best slip joint on the planet right here. Dead nut centered. So, again, I gotta give it to the Midnight Jack. And, you know, we end up here with 1, 2, 3 for the Ohio River Jack, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 for the Midnight Jack. So, we have a clear and defined winner of the Jack Off, but I knew that was going to happen, and I did this video anyway because I just wanted to show you that the Ohio River Jack can live in a world with the Jack Wolf knives and vice versa. And that's what I love about this Jack Off is they complement each other. They don't take away from each other. It's not a this or that, in my opinion. It's a both. You know what I mean? Where I feel like if you insert the Tactile Knife Co. Bear or the Medford Gentleman Jack, I feel like it becomes a this or that, this or that. Where this is like, yes, please, can I have some more? You know? Where you get a super affordable price for what you get over here with a modern twist, you know, on a very traditional looking type pattern. You get a full-blown monster of a modern traditional here, right? Taking it to an extreme with the fat carbon on it. But then on the other end, going full traditional with the kick and the bolster, like just the way it's done is to me, this is going more traditional. But then you slap the fat carbon on it, and it's like, wait, what's like? It's sort of a conundrum, right? I don't know. It's an interesting thing, and I really don't know where I'm going with that. I just feel like these both are great, and they're for what they are and what they cost. They're both hitting home runs in their categories, but they're not the same category. See what I mean? 150-ish bucks for this guy, home freaking run with these materials, the way it's finished, the way everything's done on here. That's a freaking home run. Then you look at the Jack Wolf knife, and again, for the price point it's in, $275 to $300, what you get, it's a home run. So they're both just swinging for the fence and killing it, and I'm very grateful that I get to have these and check them out, and all that good stuff. It's been a pleasure to explore the slip joint world, and it's been nice to just not know everything. You know, I don't know everything. I'm an idiot, but like, I don't know that much about slip joints and how they should work or how they do work or what all the terms are called. You can hear me kind of, you know, bumbling through this, but it's really fun to be able to learn and experience this in a new way, where I feel like with traditional, I almost said, with modern folders, I've kind of, you know, learned a lot, and now it's kind of like, oh, another one, you know, where this is like, ooh, you know, something new, something fresh. And to me, that's just kind of ironic that they're slip joints, you know. So anyway, there you go. That's the Jack Off, and your winner is the Jack Wolf Knives Midnight Jack in the Purple Haze Fat Carbon. This is by far my favorite slip joint I've ever seen, owned, looked at, even thought about. Absolutely, just hands down. This thing right here is phenomenal. And then you have the runner-up, I suppose, the Ohio River Jack from Traditional Pocket Knives. Guys, both fantastic. Go check out traditionalpocketknives.com. You can find the Ohio River Jack there in Jig Titanium available. You can find the micarta versions available on the 26th of September 2022, if that date hasn't already passed when this video posts. So you can get those there. You can also get Jack Wolf knives at C. Reisner Cutlery, traditionalpocketknives.com. He is a dealer for Jack Wolf knives, so go check out that website for information on both of these. You can also go to jackwolfknives.com and check out the authorized dealer list as well. The next release will be coming very soon, and I'm always excited for that time of the month, so to speak. And yeah, thank you to Austin for letting me check this guy out. Thank you to Ben. Or actually, I think I bought this one, but he, of course, sent me a different one to check out at one point. So thank you to Ben for letting me enjoy Jack Wolf knives. You guys are the shit. Thank you all for watching. Please leave a comment down below. It really helps out the channel. You can also ask any questions you have. Please feel free to do the battle yourself. Open tag it. If you have your own channel or you just want to leave a comment explaining, I would love to hear your thoughts and opinions on this. As per the usual, I love you guys. I hope you have an absolutely fantastic day, and I will catch you later. I gotta go jack off, if you know what I mean.